The financial markets today are very shaky. A lot of people don't understand what's happening, but there has been predictions of this. It was well known. Bubbles are created by the Federal Reserve System, and to tell you the truth, the Constitution doesn't provide for a central national bank, doesn't even provide for a Federal Reserve System. It was never meant that the politicians could spend at will, and then if they come up short, they merely print the money. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. No wonder why we have this huge runaway government. We now have a net debt of $9 trillion and have entitlements of $70 trillion, and we're dumping on the laps of these young people who are upset about what we're giving them, and we need to change it. Now, we got into this mess because we get a bunch of politicians in Washington that like to be reelected and they like power. So therefore, they say, what do you need? You need stuff here, there, whatever. And the politicians gives it to them and they get reelected. Now, there's something happening now. It's not going to play anymore because the country is going bankrupt. We don't have the facility to do it. Our good jobs have gone overseas. We can't run the war and we can't run our domestic spending without borrowing $2.5 billion every single day, most of it coming from, unbelievably, the Chinese. This has to change. But it cannot change without a reassessment of what we believe in. Do we believe in the Constitution? Do we believe that we should have the rule of law? Do we believe that sound money ought to be gold and silver and not printed money out of thin air? If we do nothing, it will come to an end. If we do something, it will not be easy because change in plans and change in efforts is always difficult. But let me tell you, there's a way to do it. It's not difficult. It just takes a little bit of logic. If we're spending way beyond our means and we have a government that does things that they're not supposed to do, we'll just say the government ought to do only the things that they're supposed to do. And we were not meant to be the policemen of the world. We are now spending for our foreign affairs and all our activities around the world now close to $1 trillion a year. We can save a lot of money there and make sure that the people will never be thrown out in the streets and that the people will be taken care of if they've become dependent on government. Take, for instance, the terrible situation we have now with our bridges falling down. It astounds me that we don't say very much about this policy that we have where you pay to go bomb bridges in Iraq, then you pay to rebuild them, and our bridges are falling down here. So what we must do is very simply the restoration of law, restoration of the principles of the Founding Father, restore the revolution that once started. Freedom is not something new and strange, and neither is it ancient. It's recent. The ideas of liberty were really introduced to the world through this country. We have been the freest and the most prosperous country in the history of the world. Tyranny is ancient. And unfortunately, this country is returning to tyranny. More and more centralized government and more control. We cannot afford it, so we ought to systematically, deliberately, and intelligently coming back and going back to a more sensible approach. Let's allow the young people to get out of Social Security if they want. It's the only way, and the only way we can do that is obviously saving money somewhere else. We do not need more money in Washington. We need less money in Washington, and we need a lot less taxes. We need more prosperity, but above all, we need faith in ourselves and a belief and a confidence, understanding how freedom works. We have lost our way because we've lost our confidence. We believe the government will take care of us. Since 9/11, it is assumed that we cannot be safe without the government. So the federal government, they come in and they register the people, and they want you to have a national ID card, which is the worst thing in the world you can have. So the goals of this campaign is very, very definite and very, very clear. I would be a president that would not want to do a lot of things. Most of the presidential candidates want to do things for you. I want to do this. I do not want to run your life, your family, or your religious beliefs. I do not want to run the economy, and I do not want to police the world. I don't know how, I don't have the authority, and it doesn't work. Join us in this great campaign for freedom and liberty. Thank you very much.